Today is Sunday, Parashat Balak, and the parasha of this week, Balak asks Bilam to come and give curses, chas v'shalom, to the Jewish people. And every time that Bilam tries to give a curse, only blessings come out. And there is one blessing that is a verse that we continue to use today. We teach our children that verse when they're very young. Some communities have accustomed to say this verse every time you come into the synagogue. It's Mat Tovu, ohaleicha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Israel. How beautiful are your tents, O Yaakov, mishkenotecha are your dwellings, Israel. And there is more than one way to understand this pasuk. One way is one of the wonderful things that is a praise of the Jewish people that Bilam saw, is that they saw that the tents of every family did not face the opening of the tent of another family. So no one could see what was going on in the home of his neighbors. And therefore there was an incredible amount of being discreet, not eavesdropping on your neighbors and not knowing what's going on in there. And that way the privacy of each person was protected. And this is something that has a lot of value. It's an important value, the idea of modesty, of tzniut. The idea is something that Bilam was very impressed with, and that's why he expressed himself in saying, how beautiful are your tents, Yaakov. We find this idea also when Rivka was about to meet Yitzchak, and as soon as she saw him from far, the first thing she did, she was going to meet her spouse, first thing she did is she covers herself with her veil. But there's another way to understand this pasuk. Mat tovu ohaleicha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Israel. This pasuk speaks about the synagogues and the Batei Midrash. The synagogues, which are reminding us of the Bet HaMikdash, of the Mishkan, that travel in the desert. Now we have a Mikdash Mat in the synagogue. The places of prayer and places of learning Torah is what Bilam was praising in his statement. Actually, Chachamim tell us that if we look at all these, there's a list of about 10 blessings. Each one of them was intended to be a malediction. Each one of them was intended to be a curse. And if you follow the 10 blessings, you'll see that 9 out of these 10 were actually fulfilled in terms of the curse when they went into the galut, when they went into exile, except for one. One stayed as a blessing forever. And that's the idea of synagogues and Batei Midrash. Places of learning Torah, places of prayer to Hashem, is something that has stayed with us, the Jewish people, throughout years and generations of exile, and continue to be a source of blessing and merit for us. And that is the way that we can turn rigor, strict din, discipline, that strict discipline from Hashem and judgment into chesed. How do we do that? By praying to Hashem and by learning Torah. And that's why Yitzchak Avinu, when Yaakov came to him, he says, Kol Yaakov vayadayim yedei Esav. If Esav has physical strength, that's Yadayim yedei Esav, then Yaakov, the strength of Yaakov is in his voice, in his call. And what is the voice? The voice is the voice of learning Torah. The voice is the voice of prayer. And that's something that has stayed with us through the generations of exile. And that's what will also help us to bring Mashiach speedily in our days. Amen. Ken Yiratzon. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.